Stephanie Keller, thank you very much for being here. We were talking about sustainability. Sustainability is in everyone's mind now in general. Which aspects are summarized under this buzzword? And are there international differences?
Good question. And thank you, Andrea, for the invitation. It's really great to be here. So the buzzword of sustainability, what does it mean? I mean, it's all about net zero. It's getting to net zero and it's breaking climate change. Are there regional differences? Well, at Analog Devices, we look at this as a global problem and we have global commitment to it. The regional tweaks, from our perspective, are really dependent on slight regional differences. So, for example, the accessibility to renewable energy on our part. When we look at what we see around the world in our customers, then Europe is absolutely the driving force in the green agenda, both from a legislative perspective, but also from the pressure that our customers are putting on their suppliers to get to net zero.
To what extent has sustainability arrived at the companies?
It's fully arrived. At Analog Devices, we have a strong commitment and strong goals towards sustainability, and we see that reflected in the goals and the targets that our customers are setting. So it's absolutely here. And when you think about Hanover Fair and the industrial business in particular, then industry has a huge ambition to improve their carbon footprint. The industrial sector and buildings account for almost 50% of all the energy used. So there's an absolute commitment to driving energy efficiency in that whole area.
So saving money with sustainability is a proof that it has arrived at the companies. But how do you embed sustainability in a corporation strategy?
I think it's fully embedded when you look at the commitments that both Analog Devices and our customers are making to sustainability. You know, ESG used to be a nice to have. Mm-hmm. Now it's absolutely embedded in companies' targets and goals. From a strategic perspective, it's the right thing to do, not just from the moral implications of that, but the fact that it's good for business. And if you look at Analog Devices strategies, then both from a goals perspective, but also the businesses that we're already contributing to in terms of solutions, like solutions for electric vehicles, for battery management, for grid, for factory automation and efficiency improvements, there's a huge commitment there.
But ADI has been dealing with sustainability for quite a long time. So what areas has your company defined for it and why?
Well, the why is obvious, right? We need to make the world a better place to be and we need to make it habitable for the long term. From a goals perspective, we have some very strong goals around sustainability. We'll be carbon neutral by 2030. By 2025, 100% of the energy that we use in our own manufacturing facilities will be from renewable sources. And we have a commitment to be net zero by 2050 or sooner. How we're implementing that, we have a three-pronged attack, which is optimize, lead, and engage. So what does that mean? Optimization is all about our own backyard, so making sure that our own manufacturing processes are as efficient as possible and that our factories are efficient as possible. And we're using our own intelligence and our great engineering resource to help make that happen. Now, we'd be remiss in the semiconductor business if we didn't talk about water, because the semiconductor manufacturing process is a huge user of water. And we have very strong goals around the fact that we will be 50% recyclable of all of the water that we take up. Again, we're using our great engineers internally, as well as our own sensing and connectivity technologies to find faster ways to make all of that happen. And in doing so, we become our own customer, which gives us an even better insight into the ecosystem, the problems that have to be solved, and advancing technology to solve those problems. So that's the optimized part. That's our own backyard. When we talk about leading, we're talking about the technologies that we can bring to the whole industrial ecosystem to enable the move to more sustainable solutions. And that's very much in a collaborative mode with our customers. And then when we talk about engaging, then that's in our whole value chain, both internally and externally. So how do we engage with our own suppliers, because we want to get to net zero in our own supply chain? How do we collaborate even more closely with our customers to ensure that the solutions that are needed get out there, and not just creating technology that might one day be used in a sustainable way, but actually co-creating with customers to make sure that the solutions we provide together actually get out into the ecosystem and make a difference faster.
So we are talking about technology, but there are also humans in a factory. So what does the employees have to do with sustainability? How do you engage them for sustainability?
Employees have everything to do with sustainability. Whether you're an engineer or a production worker in one of our factories that's working day in, day out to make our own processes more efficient and effective, or whether you're working with our customers to create sustainable solutions, or if you're just but part of a green team. We have a huge network of green teams out in our different facilities that are all working on local projects to either improve efficiencies or make offices greener, or be out in the local communities planting native trees to encourage biodiversity. Everyone has a part to play. And at Analog Devices, it's our purpose. And having that purpose is a real motivation for our employees. So we don't have to push anyone down the sustainability path. It's a real purpose within the customer, within our own company. It makes people want to get out of bed every day. And it's a great way to attract talent, because the next generation of engineers want to be doing something that's good for the planet.
You mentioned the suppliers. How do you manage to bring your suppliers and also your customers along on the path to sustainability?
Yeah, well, we're working across all aspects. With our suppliers, we're really working to understand what's their carbon plan, how do we accelerate it so that we get to net zero in our own supply chain. When we think about our customers, then that's really critical, because like I said before, it's all very well bringing technology to market, but if it doesn't get out there and make a difference, you've missed the goal. So we're working in a very collaborative way with our customers to create solutions. And when we think about Hanover, for example, right? In Hanover, we've been talking for years about Industry 4.0, right? Industry 4.0 is all about digitalization. But the digital world only exists to help us understand the real world. And that's where Analog Devices has always played at that bridge between the real world and the digital world. And what the real world is telling us is that we've got a lot of work to do. So we're rolling up our sleeves together with our customers to create solutions that will accelerate the road to carbon zero. As an example, looking at factory automation, what does that need? We need smart sensing that's connected and controlled so that we can take decisions where they need to be made right at the edge, so that we can optimize and improve the processes in that factory. We need robotic solutions, robots, cobots, AMRs, and there we're creating modular systems with our customers to enable more factory automation and ultimately the whole concept of the dark factory. When you look at motor control, motors are a massive user of energy, so we're working with those customers to improve the control of motors and thereby reduce carbon footprints. So it's a massive co-creation initiative that's ongoing with all of our customers right now. And a lot of the solutions can be seen out here today.
So what responsibility do you see at companies, politics and society?
There's responsibility everywhere, right? This is a challenge that faces everyone in every aspect of society. And sustainability is often negatively loaded. It makes people feel uncomfortable. It's seen as expensive or bad for business. But there's a lot of optimism to be had out there. And Bill Gates was asked, why are you so optimistic? And he says, well, climate change isn't a natural phenomenon. This is a human-created problem, so humans can fix it. And we can fix it through technology. And Analog Devices is absolutely committed to fixing the problem. And again, back in the industrial space, if you think about the hundreds of thousands of factories that are out there that need to exponentially improve their efficiencies, then that's an area that we can work with all these amazing companies here to improve through better sensing, connectivity, and by doing so improve efficiencies and bring those factories into the modern age. Then you think about what are the factories that need to be built, the buildings that need to be built. More and more people are moving to cities. That's not going to go away. So we have to make the energy use as effective as possible. And again, that's down to sensing, interpreting, and controlling right at the point where things are happening. And if you look out into the future, then thinking about what are the other areas where we really need to do better. And some of the initiatives that we're looking at, for example, more efficient and effective production of green hydrogen. Those are the technologies that we're also working on to really make a difference.
You mentioned the improvement because of energy efficiency. Can you tell some examples?
Well, as an example, if you think about retrofitting existing factories, we've been working with one of our big industrial customers on a pilot case on one of their production lines. So adding condition monitoring and adding our AI-based quality control to a production line to see what effects that can bring. And what they discovered is they could achieve a 25% plus improvement in energy efficiency, so reduce their energy costs for that production line by 25%. Now you start to scale that, it's making a big difference, right? So it's not just a nice to have, it's not just reducing the carbon footprint, it's actually making a difference to the bottom line.
You just have to do it.
Yeah.
So what is ADI's vision of sustainability? You mentioned the green teams, what do they do?
Oh, well, like I said, the green teams are working in all sorts of areas to improve both the environments which they live and work, but also improve efficiencies in energy. So our Limerick green team has reduced power consumption by 33% in that plant. They were the first, they were instrumentational in making Analog Devices in Limerick the first company in the province to get a cycle-friendly company status, both through making sure the facilities were available at our own plants, but lobbying local parliament to ensure cycle routes. And like I mentioned, the planting of trees, right? That's something that's happening in Ireland right now, planting more native trees to encourage biodiversity.
You also mentioned co-creation spaces. What does that mean? What do you do there?
Co-creation, well, we have at our facility in Ireland, we have something that we call the Catalyst. And the Catalyst is a co-creation space. So it's where we can come together with our customers and even their customers in an ecosystem setting to really work on problems and get focused in on solving real-world problems. So we have projects ongoing in the Catalyst around battery management for electric vehicles. And one of the really interesting ones that we have in terms of automation is looking at the dark factory. So a factory in a box, effectively, everything automated from the start to finish within that factory concept. And we're doing that together with multiple partners and an end customer. So that co-creation space is really there to help us accelerate the solutions that we bring. Again, back to the point of we've got to get the solutions out there in the ecosystem and not just something that's technology on a on a test board.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stephanie, for the interview.